Okay, guess who, guys? Oh yeah, it's the cameraman. We're in Altoona, in like downtown Altoona area. Actually, we are near the Altoona High School, and look who we ran into. So this guy's out here. He's protesting ICE. Go ahead and show us your sign. Is that the same for both sides?
No, but I want to show the other side.
Oh, come on. Our readers are no holds barred.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
they say
fine.
Trump is a pedophile. So I guess the one thing I want to start and ask you with, why don't you like President Trump?
I think President Trump overall is a liar and has been since day one. If you look back at him on talk shows back in the early 90s, one of the very first things he said when asked if he would run for president was, well, if I were to run for president, I'd run for president as a Republican because Republicans are some of the dumbest people on the planet. So that right there, to me, when he did eventually run for president as a Republican, you know?
Okay, so how old are you?
I'm 35 years old.
You're 35.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm a United States military veteran as
All
well.
right.
Yep.
So,
veteran, Afghanistan, 2000.
Are you worried about any of the policies that Trump is currently wanting to change?
Oh yeah, dozens. There's tons of policies. They're attempting to get rid of habeas corpus. I mean, that's absolutely absurd. Any American should be out in the streets protesting that. Simple fact right there. That is literally taking the Constitution of the United States and wiping their ass with it. Okay? So.
Now, the biggest topic going around right now, of course, is Los Angeles. So what do you feel about Trump's move at the way he brought in the National Guard to restore law and order?
That's this whole entire sign. Posse Comitatus, 1878, was an act designed to stop federalized military troops from policing U.S. citizens. Now, a lot of people will try to argue that National Guard gets used all the time. Okay? Yes, they do get used all the time to stop riots and peacekeep. But the difference between those times, which has happened numerous times since September 11th, and this is that Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, and the Congress of California did not authorize this. The president, the federal government, seized control over them, put them on active duty military orders, and now they are acting under federal orders, which makes them federal military troops, which violates the Posse Comitatus Act, which every military soldier swears an oath to, because it's in our Constitution. You cannot use federal military troops to police American citizens. And by enacting the Insurrections Act and seizing control over the California National Guard, they've effectively made them federal military troops, which is a violation of the constitutional law. And that's my main protest.
Okay, so Trump will say he used the military because Newsom wasn't doing his job fast enough to protect the citizens of Los Angeles.
That's not up to the federal government to make that decision. Every state has states' rights. And as Republicans and, a lot of MAGA people like to go on about states' rights and everything, it's up to the state to deploy their own National Guard. It is not up to the federal government to do that. And regardless of whatever Trump's opinion is on it, that's just his opinion. If he wants to violate the law over his own opinion, then he violates the law, and it's up to the Supreme Court to, make a decision on that.
We can pretty much figure if the Supreme Court rules against Trump, he's not going to budge. He's not going to remove the military, do you think?
I don't think so, because I don't think he gives a shred of shit about the law or the Constitution.
So he'll keep the military where they're at, even if a judge states you can't.
I agree. I mean, this is 100% authoritarian.
So what's your solution to stop what he's doing? How do you stop Trump if you can't?
I think it takes the people to get out into the streets and defend the Constitution of the United States. And, I'm somebody who probably has opinions that most people don't want to hear, but guess what? I think Americans need to not only just go out and protest in the streets, but they need to utilize their Second Amendment, and they need to bring their firearms out to these protests and open carry and stand toe-to-toe against these authoritarian people who are violating the Constitution, to show them that, hey, we mean fucking business. Like, seriously, like, if you're gonna try to bring in a dictatorship and fascism to this country, we're gonna fight it tooth and nail to the end.
So, so what's your quick opinion? I don't want to hold you up. This is going to start to rain here. What's your quick opinion about all the immigration? How Trump's handling it?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I agree totally with, if there are illegal immigrants in this country, they need to be deported. That, that's the law. And at the end of the day, I am trying to respect the law. If they're illegal and they're here, they need to be deported. But that's not what's happening. There's illegals, non-illegals, nationalized people, literally American citizens that are being gobbled up by ICE, have no way to prove, no habeas corpus, they're just gone, taken away. Like, that is my problem, is that specific issue of detaining Americans and sending them off to detention centers without due process. And it is happening to white people in America. It is happening to. If your wife has too much of a tan, but doesn't have her birth certificate and social security card and ID on her, and ICE shows up and says, hey, excuse me, ma'am, we need your papers, and you don't have them, guess what? You're not getting a phone call. You're getting detained. So, it is what it is. And if people want to support that, that's not a good thing. So,
hello.
I guess it looks like we got the police department here. How you doing, sir?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Posse Comitatus.
And I'm
1878.
interviewing him.
Okay.
Yep, we're on.
So you're not with him?
No.
I'm not with. No, I stopped here to interview him.
Yeah,
I stopped here to interview him from my side.
I'm just here on public property, holding up the sign. Okay. That's it.
All right. Can I talk to you over here real quick?
Okay.
What do you need to talk to me about?
I just want to talk to you over here. Me and you.
About what, though? You
About
can't
the
talk
sign.
about it in
No, I can. I just was trying to give you the privacy of that.
That's fine. I'd rather just do it on camera.
that's fine.
It's fine.
So what's
But-
going on with the sign?
What about it? Is this a violation of our constitutional right to
No.
free speech or what?
No. So the reason I'm here is because
Okay, so we got to interrupt.
Didn't like it.
driving-
They got offended.
Yeah,
They
they drive
called
around
us.
and they called us because
Okay.
they're doing illegal hand gestures.
So is there a reasonable suspicion, articulable suspicion of crime that I've committed?
So that's why I'm here talking to you, right?
I know you're doing an investigation trying to figure it out, and you're basing your investigation off somebody else's opinion, right? You have no verifiable video evidence that I've committed any crime, have you?
That's not what I'm here to talk about.
Okay.
So
So why
figure out what's
do
going
we
on.
need
I'm not here to-
3
I'm
squad
not-
cars out here on public
I'm
property
not
because of holding
here
a sign? Come on, man.
Okay, so we got interrupted by
So
Altoona
I'm trying to figure out
Police Department.
is why you have the sign. Why? So they didn't tell me.
It doesn't
what the
matter
gesture was.
why
They just
I
told me
have
it was
the
an
sign.
obscene gesture.
Well, I've
So were
made
you making
no
obscene
obscene gestures at all in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, I'm gonna try to call the caller and see what exactly obscene.
And I'm
gesture
sure
is.
that they are wasting tax
Yes.
money because they were offended by the sign.
I don't know that's what's going on. But
That'd be my
obviously-
guess.
Obviously, that's why I'm here is to figure out what the sign
Yeah,
was,
Posse
what the obscene
Comitatus,
gesture was, and then who you are and
1878
why you
is
have
a
it.
constitutionally protected
I think one
act
officer's
that our
leaving.
country passed. And it's just simply a sign displaying that. I know. Trust me, I get it, man. I have friends that work in the
We
department.
didn't specifically see you and like
I get it.
we're gonna crack down on
No, I get it.
So,
I'm not gonna.
can I ask what happened? So someone called and reported him.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So somebody called and reported him, I guess, for...
Said he had the sign that
How was
with
it
derogatory terms on it.
Oh.
And he was making some type of gestures to
Okay.
me.
Okay, so the complaint is that he had a sign that had a derogatory, obscene
It's not verifiable.
statement on the sign.
No, it is not.
So now they're arguing.
Listen, sir. Officer Winters, I am trying to be as cordial with you as I can.
Absolutely. But
I
like I
am
said,
just going to refuse to ID because there has been no reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime that has been committed. Just because somebody calls you and says, somebody did this or somebody did that, that's not reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime that has been committed.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in the middle of an interview, and then the cops just rolled up. I actually only had one last question too. I was going to ask him how was the community dealing with this. Ironically, that was going to be my question.
There's your answer.
Oh my goodness.
There it is.
For everybody. I get it. I get it. You have a good day, Sergeant.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Okay, so my last question actually was, ironically, is how is the neighborhood responding to us?
Overall, I mean,
How ironic is this?
It's been extremely positive overall. I mean, we must have had 100+ people go by supporting, honking, giving their enthusiasm for it. And we probably had about like 30 people who kind of got offended.
Okay, so did you hear what the complaint was?
Yes.
Okay.
They basically said somebody called.
So is that sign?
They said I was making
obscene
gestures, which,
Okay. So they also said that somebody said the sign was obscene, so they didn't tell you the sign was obscene?
No, they did not.
Did they look at your sign?
Yeah.
I thought they did. Okay, so, this was interesting, wasn't it?
Yes,
and this
it
will
was.
not be edited.
All right.
Okay, so one more time, the cops did not, so one of the complaints was that his sign was obscene. The cops looked at his sign and they didn't feel it was obscene, I guess based on the Constitution. Because he looked clearly at the sign and he just shrugged it off.
Yeah.
And basically, we're both free to go. I thought this was a sting operation.
Me too.
I was like, uh-oh.
3 squad cars that rolled up. Yeah.
3 squad cars rolled up.
All for
This
somebody exercising their First Amendment in this country. Pretty crazy. The
Well,
world we live in.
I'm a Trump supporter, but it was very nice meeting you.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
That's
two
fair
people
enough.
from opposite sides
Yep.
can get along.
Yeah, and can have a dialogue.
Yep.
Yeah. Man.
Unfortunately, although with the cops showing up, that actually makes for good video.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
All right, this is the cameraman in downtown Altoona.
Yeah, man.